Hello everyone, welcome back to Mindful and Mellow. Today we're going to use the Morgan Greer Tarot deck to do a Celtic Cross Tarot reading. So we'll kind of get a full view into what's going on. As always, I will have to cover up any cards with any perceived nudity because the algorithms prevent those from posting to Instagram and TikTok. So, I'm sorry, YouTube and TikTok. So, I have to do that. And as always, I will let my intuition kind of lead me to wherever I want to go, wherever it wants to go. So first card, we have the King of Cups. You're crossed by the Five of Cups. in the distant past, we have the Nine of Cups. It's a good one to have. In the more recent past, we have the Seven of Pentacles. In your subconscious mind, we have the Two of Swords. In the future, the near future, we have the Fool. Fool, awesome, I love that. Okay, you are represented by the Six of Cups. The person or situation coming towards you is represented by the Lovers, and the Lovers needs to be covered up, so I'm going to use my Splenda packet to do so. We'll put that right there. The person or situation coming toward, in the area of your hopes and dreams, hopes or fears, rather, we have the Queen of Cups. And then in the outcome, we have the Six of Swords. All right, so it's moving on to calmer waters. Moving on. Certainly a good card to have. All right, so current energy, we have the King of Cups. So if you're represented by the King of Cups, you may be kind of coming out of a period of hurt. Or you might have actually hurt somebody else, kind of what I'm getting. You might have been disappointed, but I feel like you were just really trying to express your feelings, and maybe you were involved with somebody and you just really weren't feeling it. You weren't interested, okay? That's kind of what I'm getting for somebody, is that like you might have had to relay that, to someone who's really into you. This is at least for somebody that I'm feeling. Someone was really into you, but maybe you weren't as into them, and you kind of had to relay that and just say, hey, listen, I don't think this is going to work out. It's kind of what I'm getting here. So I'm getting, you were emotionally mature and aware of your feelings, and you express those effectively. So if you're feeling any doubts or any reservations about having done that, you really can't, because if you set somebody free, that's really what it is. Like, you kind of set them free and just said, hey, I'm not interested. It's just, it's fine. It doesn't mean you're a bad person, right? It just means I just don't feel a connection. We've all been on both sides of that coin. And that's kind of what I'm feeling with this Five of Cups, and it could be too that maybe if you were on the receiving side of that, or you were, you kind of were unsure of your feelings, I'm definitely feeling like you progressed after some period of hurt. You're more mature and aware of your feelings. You're more in touch with your feelings. You express them more effectively and effectively, but also proactively too. So you don't lead somebody on or leave them hanging on. Okay, so I feel like you're kind of at you've matured. Your emotional maturity is really an example to a lot of people. Okay, because you're kind of showing up as this King of Cups. Okay, in the area of the distant past, you have the Nine of Cups. So, what I'm getting here is there was definitely some sort of a wish fulfillment. There was definitely something that was really exciting, really fulfilling, kind of like a goal was achieved, whatever this might have been. This could be a new job. This could be like the emergence of a relationship. It could just be just a really like happy time in life when you're just happy-go-lucky and everything is working out. You're really feeling that. So I get like maybe you've done something and or maybe some wish was fulfilled and you were able to kind of seize that opportunity and seize that moment. And really work it to the best of your ability. In the more recent past, I'm kind of getting with this Seven Pentacles, like, maybe this is tied to whatever the wish fulfilled was. It certainly brought around a great deal of prosperity. And now you're kind of like, in the more recent past, you've kind of taken a pause. You're taking around and appreciating, like, where have you been? How has it worked? This is also an opportunity where you might have asked yourself, is the juice worth the squeeze? Like, am I getting the benefit here? So this is kind of taking a pause and looking around at all the abundance that you've attracted and the success that you've had and manifested. But it's also kind of like that saying, okay, do I continue to press forward or do I need to shift direction? So it can be a little bit like strategic. It can also just be like a little bit of wariness perhaps, but not necessarily. I think it's a good like check-in, okay? So maybe if you're doing this in the past, being like, is this really what I want? I tried something new. It's worked out well in a lot of ways. However, is this the direction I want to keep going in? Nothing wrong in doing that, right? Because we only learn and develop and grow if we try new things. So it kind of like as a side reminder coming out of that. So in the area of your subconscious mind, I do get a little bit of indecision here, maybe a little bit of conflict between your conscious mind, what you're telling yourself, and what your subconscious mind is aware of, and what you reaffirm and have embedded into that experience. So be aware of a conflict between your conscious mind and your subconscious mind. So what do I mean by that? So law of attraction, all the Neville Goddard, all the law of attraction kind of greats. Those focused on harnessing our thoughts, but also kind of being mindful, because our inner state creates our outer state. Okay. What this tells me is, like, let's say you were telling yourself like that you are immensely successful and like attract money easily. You might be saying that in your conscious mind, but if your subconscious mind only is aware that you're scraping by barely, that you're afraid that you're going to run out of money, that the abundance that's flowed to you is going to stop abruptly or suddenly, or kind of fade away, and then you'll be kind of left. So that's just an example, right? Not necessarily the one, but that is a conflict between your subconscious and your conscious mind. Ultimately, the subconscious mind usually wins out. Okay, so unless you continually to reinforce the new position through affirmations, through diligent focus, through imagination, and that sort of thing, and you kind of reprogram, as Joe Dispenza calls it, reprogram the subconscious mind. So that's certainly something you could be doing. Now, that's definitely, this is just like, I guess, an opportunity and a warning. I'm raising awareness to that possibility. We all need to be aware of it, because we all do it from time to time. Some people do it a lot. Some people don't do it at all because they're consciously aware of that. So regardless, whatever this hesitation is, I do see you moving on out of that. Okay. So, in the near term future, we have the Fool card. The Fool card is all about taking that leap of faith, taking the leap into the unknown, getting out of your comfort zone, moving on to something new and exciting. This card's come up a lot in a lot of readings. I think that's a great sign, because it just continually reaffirms, that there's an opportunity here to kind of take that leap of faith, start something new, go off on a new venture, an adventure, whichever resonates the most with you, to pick up something new, whether it be a new job, whether it be like picking up and moving for some of you. It could be as much as, starting a side gig, or maybe just going off and like trying a new sport, trying some new social thing, that you've never tried before. Might bring an amazing new connection in. Okay. So, remember, this Fool, like, he's got everything he needs. In this little stick, he's got his dog, his faithful little dog, and he's kind of got this little bag here tied to the stick. He has everything that he needs. He's kind of, he's just, off he goes. He's kind of dressed in some crazy attire too. But what's not lost to me too is this white, with the white that he's got on. There's a lot of different ripples in it. So to me, the ripples represent vibration. Okay, so we know that, like, if you're operating in a high vibration, it's like a vibration. Like, the waves are very quick and fast. Okay, and that's kind of like what I get with this. So indicating like he's in a higher vibration. When you're in a higher vibration, what do I mean? You're feeling emotions associated with higher vibrations, which include joy, excitement, that kind of thing, versus low vibrational energies. Think of how you feel. Like, if you're excited, you feel really energized, really, like, and you're like really jumping around maybe. Whereas if low vibration would be disappointment, sadness, jealousy, despair, all those kind of things. Like, you just kind of like lounge on the couch and think about the worst things that are coming. So definitely a high vibration here. So definitely take that leap. The Six of Cups here. And traditionally this is also thinking about like nostalgia, somebody from the past, some sort of like childhood, naivete, if you will, to a degree. But it's also like about generosity and kind of coming together here. These two young people are coming together and sharing, kind of the abundance of flowers around them. So this, the sixes. To me, this is like, there's a lot of prosperity here too, right? There's a lot of excitement and well-being. Okay, so maybe this is, like, you've been working on yourself, and you're like a child. Like, a child is largely, they're open to possibilities. They're in awe of everything. They don't have that negative vibration, that negative mindset. Okay, so maybe that's you with the Fool here. So again, kind of like take a leap with that. Now, this card, which I shall cover up, for the purposes of the algorithms with the Splenda packet. The Lovers is all about, yes, it's about a relationship, it's about a connection. it's also, but it's also about like a connection. This is also the Gemini card. So, you know, you could be connecting with somebody who is a Gemini, somebody, the person situation coming towards you. It could be a Gemini. It could just be an amazing connection. It could be a love connection. It might not be. It might be more of like an old friend kind of coming back, perhaps. But it could, there is definitely some sort of a connection coming in strong here. In the area of your hopes and fears, you know, I feel like, you know, you are represented here by this King of Cups, and what you're hoping for is hoping to find your equivalent of the Queen of Cups, okay? Now, this could be you, this could be somebody else, could be, you know, if you're, you know, maybe this could be two kings, two queens, whatever it is, right? But what this is saying, like what this is telling me is that, you know, you're kind of hoping that your ideal match is coming in, and here, this what the Lovers is saying. The personal situation coming towards you is the Lovers. So I love that we have you represented by the King of Cups, and then in the area of hopes and fears is this Queen of Cups. It tells me it's not necessarily a fear, it's more of like a hope. Maybe you're hoping that you're going to meet this person soon. And I get maybe perhaps with this Lovers represented here, it's very, very possible that you will. Then lastly, in the outcome, the Six of Swords here. Now, it does look a little bit dark, right? But it's not necessarily a bad thing, because the Six of Swords, like, first of all, you know, this is presumably the person, you know, like, this is the person that we're talking about, which would be you here, is the one that's seated. Okay, so technically, you know, you kind of get this, some people think of it as a guardian angel, but there's a protector here. There's somebody that's kind of they've got your back, okay? Literally and figuratively, they've got your back, and they're moving you on. They're helping you to move on to calmer waters. They're there to support you and move you into that better experience. So I do feel like if it's been a rough patch, if you've gone through anything that's been difficult, or maybe it's just been a really busy time, you might be moving into a quieter period that'll be easier. Okay, so certainly something to look forward to there. Okay, let's just, by way of oracle cards, let's try the Whispers of the Ocean oracle cards, see if we can get a theme or any additional insight there. Okay, and I don't need to shuffle these because it really doesn't matter, so I just move them around a couple of times. Okay, and we have facing your fears. Look for ways to strengthen your connection to the universe and others. Stay peaceful and calm in the knowing of who you are. Okay, that's a fundamental of all the teachings of Neville Goddard, Joe Dispenza, and others, right? As they talk about the law of assumption, the law of attraction. So with that, I thank you for being here, and I'll be back again real soon.